Let's take a look at some charts and information on Band for BraveNewCoin. So Band is a data oracle similar to Link and Pyth Network, PYTH, on Solana. Band is cross-chain on Cosmos. It has a proof of stake component to it as well. And essentially what oracles do is connect data to the blockchain. It's a type of middleware, Polkadot, ETH, Cosmos, any other chain where Band can function. It can pull data from trusted sources, ideally aggregated trusted sources, and bring it onto the blockchain. Super important for DeFi related activities, including DEXs and AMMs. And they go through here and give you the typical use case for an oracle. And it's definitely a needed and used service. The question is always, does it need a token? What does the token do? Can it just be an oracle as a company? Why does it need a cryptocurrency? You could say the same thing about Link. Link would still function without the token, right? So they have the use case for the oracles crystal clear. For me, it's the token use case that I'm not so sure about, but on Masari, they break it down and they say that the token is used for staking, it's used for fees, and governance, of course. There's always a governance component with this to add on to the use cases. So for me, it's a use case. I don't know if it's a strong use case, but it is a use case. They did do ICOs and IEOs, raising around 11 million. Chain's valued, I think, at 355 million currently. And if we look at the supply curve for the token, we are about here at around 80 million circulating, and that's going to peak by 2024. So you still have a bit more dilution happening over time until 2024. 3 years from now is an eternity for anything, but it's important to just know, did they do an ICO? What was the pre-mine? Who's holding the tokens? Do they have a lockup? The investors or the advisors, right? Because that all represents selling supply. For oracles, for me, the most important thing is the requests. So how many people are asking for the data through Band? And it's continued to increase over time. Certainly not exploding, but it is increasing over time. 357 million market cap currently. 71 nodes. I don't know the size of the nodes, the full nodes. I don't know. I don't even think we know if they're updated. Let me find that one. Yeah, I don't know the node version. But if we look at the data sets themselves, it's the typical Forex, crypto, some commodities, metals. And you can go into this and see the data providers and how it's being validated. And then this gets aggregated into DeFi exchanges or uses. And if we look at the number of users, 76 over the past 24 hours, number of contract interactions, 154. So based on the contracts themselves, not a lot of activity here. Not too much going on under the hood from what I can see anyway. That doesn't mean the oracle isn't working. It just means not a lot of people are using the token for the token necessarily. If we look at the validators, I think the top 5 are them, Band. And then after that, Binance, Stakefish, a few other familiar names in here. Some VCs, mostly stuff I've never heard of, which is good. Will another exchange. You want these to be geographically distributed, not all venture capital, not all exchanges, not all in Asia. This one made me laugh. Bitcoin Addict, Thailand. When I see stuff like that on this list, that's what you want to see. You want to see just completely random validators with no collective interest necessarily or bias towards something, governance-wise. The staking component has a 1.4% adjusted reward after inflation, 21-day lockup, some fees there, 80% being staked. So that tells me there's not a lot else to do with the token, which is fine, but I don't think the staking reward is enough to bring people over from lending USDC or sitting on an AMM on Curve with a stablecoin. You're exposing yourself to volatility risk, smart contract risk with Band versus regulatory risk and smart contract risk with USDC and other stablecoins. So that percentage is around 34% usually, sometimes higher, sometimes lower. So in order for a staking component to really take off, it needs an adjusted reward better than what you can get just lending stablecoins, basically. So this isn't really going to move the needle for a lot of people. They do have a governance component. Their next vote is October 15th, ending time. Looks like they get decent turnout, 70%, 80%. Not terrible. Probably better than most actual elections in real life. And some of these are upgrades. Some of these are including certain data sets or Oracle features. So to have that governance component makes sense. I just don't know if it, if it adds enough of a use case for people to really want to hold the token and vote in that stuff, or have your validator vote for you in a sort of representative democracy situation. Looking at Google Trends for Band, basically flat. I don't hear too much about Band. I don't see anybody talking about it besides myself, honestly. I really just talk about it and look at it because Link is so huge, oracles are so important, and there aren't many oracles out there as chains. And let's say Link were to fail or fall apart, people would be looking to Band to pick up the slack or some other oracle, right? Looking at the technicals, this is the half-year MA down here, 5 times that in the red, midline in the white. Generally, the green is the buy, red is the sell. So you have the MA, you have the multiple telling you as an oscillator where this sits. Currently, it is in the buy zone based on the half-year MA. Assuming this flips bullish, it likes a target of 50 from here, which is a pretty good multiple. Obviously, it's a 5x if it can hit that level. So it looks better than Solana in the sense that it's in the buy zone. I only mentioned Solana because I talked about it today. Where Solana's at the midline, for me, it's easier to buy and hold something that looks like this if I believe in the future of this thing than to buy and hold Solana at the price it's currently at because it's very close to its 5x multiple based on the MA. Looking at the 50-200 EMA, VPVR, monthly pivots, volume, and RSI, it's kind of just been ranging for a year now, really, between 450 and 17, which is a massive range, but not a lot happening here trend-wise other than just flat. Now you can trade this, and I have traded this if you get a decent chart pattern or trend flip in the range, but this probably just continues to bounce around 5 and 15 until it has a reason to go above or below those levels. Not exciting analysis, I know, but not an exciting chart, really. This has had some smaller time frame chart patterns, inverted Adam and Eve here, inverted head and shoulders here, inverse head and shoulders, whatever you want to call that. W double bottom. The MAs could flip bullish. That could be enough for people to start buying this thing again, maybe just below 10. But what's your upside? Do you believe in the 50 target or do you believe in the $20 target, right? That's a 2x essentially based on resistance. Looking at the cloud, it is looking decently okay. It is starting to get above the 12-hour cloud. It's just been a lot of ranging on pretty much all time frames since May. So there's not really much momentum here, but if this thing can get above 9-10 level, I do like it for additional upside this quarter. Looking at band BTC, it has been distinctly bearish since it broke below the 200-day moving average in October 2020. It had the potential for a massive inverted head and shoulders here. It really tried to break out and couldn't before the May dump. So it certainly doesn't look as bottomy as it did from October to April right now. It's just got to get above this 200-day moving average. As long as it's below, the expectation is lower lows and bearishness. So the first step is get above 2K sats personally, get above 2K sats for this resistance, and then 3K for the VPVR level. Above 3K, you're in the free and clear, probably goes to 6, but right here, it's not a buy for me. And looking at band ETH, it continues to print a bull div, as do most things against the ETH pair. This does have a decent upside potential. I just don't know, looking at the USD pair, the BTC pair, and ETH pair, I don't know if that's enough of momentum to do much of anything right now. It really needs to get above 9 or 10 to have a shot at some sort of mean reversion against BTC and ETH. So it doesn't look too terrible. If you bought it, I wouldn't look down upon you because on technicals it looks okay. But I'd feel much more comfortable between 9 and 10 personally to jump in. Lastly, I'll just mention the ETH BTC fund and the DeFi portfolio. I trade for TechMe Capital on Enzyme.finance, a non-custodial portfolio management tool where you can see everything, including AUM, performance, allocation, all the vaults. I'm in here on Yearn Comp and Aave, as well as the trades in the trade sim down below. That's all for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.